Good evening. The time now is 11 p.m. Our top of the hour headlines. Sarawak facing critical nursing shortage. Kuching cops seize 3.5 million ringgit in drugs, and robotic therapy is now recognized in Sarawak. Hello there, you're now with me, Douglas Elliott, and you're now watching Tvs Nightline. Sarawak is in dire need of more nurses, especially in acute care, specialized care and for placement in rural clinics. Deputy Premier Dato Sri Dr. Sim Kui Han said the current nurse-to-population ratio in Sarawak is still low, with only 3 nurses to 1,000 residents based on Sarawak's population figure of 2.9 million in 2020. This is stark in comparison to 8 nurses per 1,000 residents in developing countries.
Dr. Sim said this at the launch of the Sarawak Nursing Conference SNC 2023 in Cebu on Friday. His speech was read by Bukit Aseh Assemblyman Joseph Cheng.
At the moment, for the JKA Sarawak, we have staff nurses of 6,146 out of 6,548 posts. And there's about 93.86% being filled. And for the JM, which is the community nurse, then we have 1,874 out of 2,835, which means that it's 65.18% being filled. And that is very, in a very critical percentage.
Dr. Sim, who is also the Minister for Public Health, Housing and Local Government, said there are 2 main issues plaguing the nursing profession in Sarawak, namely the lack of promotion for senior nurses and the requirement for relocation should they be promoted, forcing the nurses to be separated from their families. Therefore, he called upon the Ministry of Health, MOH, to consider more senior positions for Sarawak so that these nurses will be able to stay in their hometowns and serve in the state. Similarly, he remarked that the recruitment and training of community nurses JM have been halted since 2015, but the upgrading of JM posts to staff nurse posts has been delayed. Noting that JM, who underwent training to become staff nurse more than 2 years ago, have not been appointed to the position.
Similarly, Malaysia needs a total of 44,804 assistant medical officers by 2025, as the country is expected to have 36 million population by that year. Deputy Health Minister Lukanisman Awang Soni said the number of medical assistants in the country is currently 23,329, with a ratio of 1 per 1,400 compared to the population.
He said this in a speech during the inaugural ceremony of the 12th National Medical Assistant Day 2023 at the Ministry of Health, MOH, here today. Lukanisman further added that discussions have always been held by the Public Service Department and the Ministry of Finance to ensure that permanent staffing issues could be resolved within 3 to 5 years. In the meantime, he said the number of PPPS or medical assistants who have a degree is still small, which is less than 10%, and the MOH target is 75% of them to have a degree by 2030. Currently, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, University Sultan Zainal Abidin and University Terbuka Malaysia run special programs at the degree level for PPP.
Contractors involved in the construction of the new Lawas Hospital have been told to buck up or face the music. Deputy Premier Dato Amar Awangtengah Ali Hassan said the state government has been lenient on the deadline all this while due to the slowdown brought by the COVID-19 pandemic.
To me, that will delay again. Tapi saya yakinlah kontraktor dia akan komited untuk membersihkan dan dia tak akan minta lagi. Baik kan? Kalau dia minta pun janganlah.
He urged all parties involved to play their part as the facility is much anticipated by the people.
Kita telah pun minta pihak JKR, ini di bawah JKR Federal, dan untuk monitor perkembangan pembinaan hospital ini. Dan dalam masa yang sama, kontraktor juga akan mengumumkan plan-plan tindakan mereka bagaimana untuk memastikan hospital ini dapat disiapkan lebih awal seperti apa yang dijualkan supaya ianya dapat beroperasi. Taklah kita nak tunggu sampai Disember 2024, dan projek ini begitu penting sekali. Ini adalah hasrat masyarakat Lawas daripada dulu lagi.
The project was initially scheduled for completion by December of this year. However, it was reported that the 76-beds hospital have been deferred with a new deadline of December 11, 2024.
Now, meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, tens of thousands of fed-up junior doctors are planning to strike on March 13 for 3 days to demand better pay and working conditions. One junior doctor, Daniel Zahidi, said that since he started his profession, he has been overworked and underpaid, as he sees no hope of settling his student loan debt based on his current wage.
My pay is £14 an hour, 1/4, and I am graduating with over £100,000 of debt. I've got mates my age getting paid 3 times as much as me, 4 times as much as me, and it's obviously like I love the job. I can't imagine doing a job like any other job, but something needs to change. Otherwise, I can't go on like this.
Zahidi is a junior doctor working in Cambridge Hospital and said that they were chronically understaffed and struggling. Meanwhile, 28-year-old Po Huang, who's well into his 2-year specialty training as a psychiatry doctor, facing similar distress as he works about 48 hours a week on average, being pushed to the brink after below-inflation pay collided with the surging cost of living.
It was really, really tough, and the amount of post-traumatic stress that's present in terms of the doctor workforce from then is unbelievable. We did our duty, and we did our duty tenfold. We went above and beyond to do everything that we could, and it really does hurt that we've gotten claps, and people are clapping, and we don't want your claps. In fact, it's something which makes me really angry, and a lot of my colleagues really angry. We hate the sound of clapping and applause because it's empty. You know, like, we have had a 26% pay cut. It's all what we're worth is claps, and it's not enough. Claps won't pay our bills.
As a qualified doctor in London who has worked for 7 years, he said his total pay is around £40,257 annually, which can rise up to £48,000 for any additional hours he works.
Yeah, junior doctors are staffing the very toughest shifts in terms of the late shifts, the night shifts, working the bank holidays, the Christmas days, the important weekends at £14 an hour. What we are looking for is for us to be paid £19 an hour instead of 14. That is not an arduous ask. There is the money in the kitty for that.
I don't feel valued. I feel like I'm on the precipice of burnout, and like chronically, and it's not sustainable, and we can't go on like this. Something needs to change.
The British Medical Association BMA, which represents doctors and medical students in the United Kingdom, including about 45,000 junior doctors in England, said 98% voted in favour of strike action, with a turnout of about 77.5% of BMA members who were entitled to vote. The BMA said their calculations showed that pay for junior doctors in England from 2008 and 2009 to 2021 and 2022 had seen a real terms pay cut of 26.1%. The upcoming walkouts by junior doctors will put more pressure on Britain's state-funded National Health Service, which is already experiencing waves of disruptive strike action by nurses, ambulance workers and other health workers.
A 37-year-old man in Kuching, believed to be a drug trafficker, may be facing the gallows by hanging after police found a total of 35 kilograms of substance suspected to be shabu in his possession on Wednesday. Sarawak Commissioner of Police Datuk Muhammad Azman Ahmad Sabri said the suspect was nabbed at a compound of an apartment along Jalan Stutong Baru in Kuching, marking the largest drug bust for the year. Upon inspection, police found the illicit substances in the suspect's vehicle.
Hasil pemeriksaan dijalankan oleh pasukan Sebuan telah berjaya menyumpai dan merampas jumlah 12 bungkusan seberat 12,447 gram disyaki mengendara sabu di dalam kereta dinaiki oleh suspek.
The suspect then led police to his apartment, where they found an additional 22 packets of drugs weighing 22.6 kilogram, along with a translucent plastic packet weighing 363 grams.
Jadi dalam modus operandi, suspek dikesan menjalankan aktiviti pengedaran dadah sabu sejak pertengahan tahun 2021. Dadah dikirimkan melalui penghantaran kurier oleh ahli syarikat yang berada di Semenanjung.
The drugs are believed to be purchased in bulk at a cost of 1.26 million ringgit with a street value of 3.5 million ringgit.
Suspek akan menghantar dadah ke satu lokasi yang diarahkan dan pasaran adalah untuk sekitar daerah Kuching dan daerah-daerah berdekatan. Keseluruhan rampasan dadah pada operasi ini seberat 35,486 gram dan boleh digunakan seramai 177,430 orang penagih.
Azman said the suspect is currently under remand until March 15 to facilitate an investigation under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952 for drug trafficking. Police is committed to tracking down drug syndicates and eradicating drug-related crimes in the state. Meanwhile, a woman in Kuching suffered losses of over $500,000 ringgit after falling victim to a love scam. Sarawak Police Commissioner Datuk Muhammad Azman Ahmad Sabri said the 47-year-old victim realized she was ripped off after being unable to contact the suspect on March 4th.
Masa memberitahu pada tarikh 10 bulan 1 2023 semasa berada di rumahnya telah melayari laman sosial Instagram dan telah berkenalan dengan suspek kononnya berasal dari Brisbane, Queensland dan mempunyai perniagaan membekal dan menjual jentera berat. Seterusnya mangsa telah berhubung dengan suspek menggunakan mesej melalui aplikasi WhatsApp dan telah dilamun cinta. Suspek memberitahu akan terbang ke Turki pada 3 bulan 2 tahun 2023 dan memberitahu sedang mengalami masalah kewangan dalam menguruskan perniagaan dan ingin membuat pinjaman wang dengan mangsa.
The victim, deceived by the tactic, loaned the money to the suspect through 48 online transactions into 7 different bank accounts from January 31st to February 3rd, 2023, totaling 556,942 ringgit. Meanwhile, Azman also said an elderly man who was also swindled out of 100,300 ringgit in a phone scam. The 64-year-old victim said he had received a call from a suspect who claimed to be a police officer from the Kedah Contingent Police Headquarters, stating that victim was involved in a case of illegal money, laundering and drugs. The suspect contacted the victim through WhatsApp and asked the victim to provide his bank details and password for online banking.
Pada hari sama, mangsa telah membuat pindahan wang sebanyak 5 kali ke 3 akaun bank yang berbeza berjumlah 60,300. Selepas itu, mangsa membuat semakan perbankan atas talian atas akaun bank BSM mendapati ada berlaku perpindahan wang ke akaun pihak ketiga yang melibatkan 4 kali transaksi ke 2 akaun yang berbeza berjumlah 40,000. Jumlah keseluruhan kerugian mangsa adalah sebanyak RM100,300 melibatkan 9 kali transaksi ke 5 akaun bank suspek yang berbeza.
Thus, Azman reminded the public to always be vigilant and not fall victim to people impersonating the authorities. Immediately report to the authorities in the event of receiving any suspicious calls.
The Social Security Organization, or SACSO, recognized the robotic therapy, the latest Japanese technology that provides high-tech rehab services for faster rehabilitation for its patients. Executive Director of SACSO, Tun Razak Rehabilitation Center, said a total of 40 patients statewide have benefited from this treatment plan.
He added that the initiatives made have met the requirements of public-private partnership, PPP, particularly in giving assistance to SACSO recipients in receiving this therapy.
saya merasa banggalah bahawa kita telah menghantar lebih kurang 40 pesakit di sini. Semua yang asal dari Sarawak, dan 18 orang sudah pun mendapat hasil, di mana ada di antara mereka yang berjaya return to work dan ada di antara mereka itu yang telah memulihkan kebolehfungsian diri mereka masing-masing.
Explaining further, he said most cases that requires robotic therapy are neurological disease, spinal nerve injuries, and chronic diseases. At the same time, he urges those who have similar health problems to come and receive the said treatment immediately to minimize further health implications as well as reduce the cost of treatment. The robotic rehabilitation in Sarawak used the world's first wearable cyborg that can provide more engaging, interactive and personalized therapy for their patients.
Fresh from its recent showing at the world's largest tourism trade fair, or ITB Berlin in Germany, Sarawak is confident in capturing the European market and eyeing a 20% jump in European tourist arrivals in 2023. With its own standalone pavilion making a debut, Sarawak, through Sarawak Tourism Board (STB), aims to strengthen its presence in the European market and to position itself as a leading and preferred ecotourism destination in the ASEAN region.
At the three-day event from March 7 to 9, STB and its trade partners managed to clinch 52 new leads to promote Sarawak, with total sales expected to be generated from the event to be around 10.5 million ringgit for 2023. While there, STB also inked a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with Tischler Reason Act to boost Sarawak's visibility towards becoming a preferred destination among Germans and the surrounding European markets. The collaborative effort will involve over 600 travel agencies in Germany. Visitors to the event had the chance to sample Sarawak's unique plethora of culture, adventure, nature, food and festivals through the Sarawak Pavilion. Team Discovery of Sarawak, the pavilion showcased Sarawak's multi-ethnic communities and natural ecosystems, as well as diverse flora and fauna. Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts (MTCP) Sarawak Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said the Sarawak Pavilion is reflective of the state's passion to drive tourism as one of the key contributors to the region of Sarawak.
We'll be taking a short break. Coming up after the break, former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin released on 2 million ringgit bail. Turkey sets for May 14 election. Right here on Tvs Nightline. Stay tuned. I get confused. Welcome back. Aim at enhancing the spirit of unity through activities portraying the uniqueness of the various customs, cultures and races in Malaysia. National Unity Minister Dato' Aaron Ago Dagang said the National Unity Week celebration would kick off in Kuching. The week-long nationwide celebration, to be held at the end of May, is launched just ahead of Gawai Day festivity on June 1st. Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has been granted release on bail of 2 million ringgit with sureties by the Sessions Court in Kuala Lumpur. Muhyiddin is facing 4 counts of corruption to solicit bribes amounting to 232.5 million ringgit and 2 counts of money laundering involving 195 million ringgit. The former Prime Minister was also ordered by Judge Azura Alwi to surrender his passport pending disposal of his case. Earlier, Muhyiddin pleaded not guilty and claimed trial to all 6 counts. On the first and second charges, Muhyiddin was charged as the country's Prime Minister and Bersatu President to have abused his position to obtain gratification of 200 million ringgit from Bukhari Equity Sdn Bhd and 1 million ringgit from Nepturis Sdn Bhd for Bersatu. As for the third and fourth charges, he was alleged to have used his position as the Prime Minister and Bersatu President to obtain gratification of 19.5 million ringgit from Mamfor Sdn Bhd and 12 million ringgit from Azman Yusof for Bersatu. The charges were framed under Section 23(1) of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2009, which provides imprisonment for up to 12 years and a fine of not less than 5 times the amount or value of the bribe, or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher if found guilty. He was also charged in his capacity as Bersatu President with 2 counts of receiving money from unlawful activities amounting to 195 million ringgit from Bukhari Equity Sdn Bhd. The charges were framed under Section 4(1)(b) of the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001, which provides imprisonment for up to 15 years and can also be fined not less than 5 times the amount or value of the proceeds or 5 million ringgit, whichever is higher if convicted. Judge Azura fixed May 26 for mention of the case. Scheme which allows Employees Provident Fund EPF contributors to use their retirement funds as collateral is described as a catalyst of a fresh economic development for the short term, expert says. Lecturer of Economics at the Faculty of Economics and Business in UNIMAS, Dr. Zul Hazwan Hussaini noted that such an approach can help reduce social problems among the community as well as injecting capital to improve challenging situations.
Langkah ini lebih mampan kerana ia tidak melibatkan pengeluaran yang tidak sustainable. Ada elemen kebertanggungjawaban di situ untuk memastikan objektif utama KWSP itu tidak diketepikan.
Dr. Zul also hopes that the problem of bureaucracy will be addressed, such as approval without CTOS and secret filtration, whereby the contributors have been fully guaranteed by the EPF party. At the same time, he recommends that such measure can be extended to inactive members such as housewives and traders.
Mungkin suri rumah yang mempunyai lesen perniagaan ataupun pasangan yang bekerja ataupun berniaga mungkin boleh diberi kelayakan.
Dr. Zul was commenting on the announcement by the Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who informed that the government will introduce a scheme which allows EPF contributors to apply for bank loans by using their retirement funds as collateral. The scheme, he said, can be offered to any EPF contributors who is desperate to apply for financial loan with collateral from the related agencies. Anwar said the scheme would give spaces to hard-pressed contributors with savings to borrow from banks by using their EPF money as collateral for the loans.
Thank you for staying with us. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Friday set the clock ticking for the biggest test of his 20-year administration by calling the country's presidential and parliamentary elections for May 14, a month earlier than scheduled. Speaking after the signing of the election decision, the president said the decision was made considering university exams that would take place on June 18, along with travels during the period.
Biraz önce anayasamızın 116. maddesinin verdiği yetkiyle 18 Haziran 2023 tarihinde yapılması gereken Cumhurbaşkanı ve milletvekili seçimlerinin 14 Mayıs'ta yenilenmesi kararını imzalamış bulunuyorum.
Erdogan will run for the upcoming presidential elections as the candidate of the People's Alliance, and he will be challenged by Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, who runs for the opposition nation alliance made up of 6 parties. The election will decide not only who leads Turkey, but how it is governed, where its economy is headed, and what role it may play to ease conflict in Ukraine and the Middle East. Polls suggest that the presidential and parliamentary votes will be tight, with the opposition bloc running slightly ahead of the governing alliance. The bloc has vowed to reverse many of Erdogan's policies on the economy, civil rights and foreign affairs in what many see as the most consequential election in the republic's 100-year history.
Over in China, Xi Jinping secured a president-breaking third term as president of China on Friday during a parliamentary session in which he tightened his control of the world's second-largest economy as it emerges from a COVID slump and diplomatic challenges mount. Nearly 3,000 members of China's parliament, the National People's Congress, voted unanimously in the Great Hall of the People for the 69-year-old Xi in an election in which there was no other candidate.
For Xi, the stage was set for another term when he did away with the presidential term limits in 2018. Last October, his power was already extended when he was reconfirmed for another 5 years as General Secretary of the Central Committee of the ruling Communist Party. Over the next 2 days, officials approved by Xi are set to be appointed or elected to fill top positions in the cabinet, including Premier-in-Waiting Li Qiang, who is expected to be named to China's number 2 post, putting him in charge of managing the world's second-largest economy.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally, just a click away. More headlines anytime at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. My name is Douglas Elliott. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend ahead.